Okay, well, good morning and welcome to the Kushner Report for April of 2025. And at the conclusion of today's program, we'll have a Q&A session to cover some of the things we discussed this morning. So today we're going to look at key economic indicators, the global economy, the domestic economy, mergers and acquisitions, and of course, other significant economic news and what's ahead. So today we're going to take a thorough look at the biotechnology outlook, what trends are taking place, and some of the AI implications. What's interesting now is the fact that the biotech industry in 2025 outlook presents a number of exciting developments and emerging trends across various sectors of the industry. And as we further look into 2025, biotech will continue to be a forefront of innovations in medicine, agriculture, environmental, sustainability, and other critical areas. And here's some key areas to watch as we go forward. So if you look at precision medicine, okay. As I was saying earlier, so if we look at it in the area of gene editing tools, will really continue to advance, enabling more precise and efficient treatments for genetic disorders, cancers, and other diseases. And in 2025, these technologies are going to move from research into clinical applications. Advances in cell therapies will expand the possibilities of treating cancers and autoimmune diseases. And also, we're going to see that more of the off-the-shelf therapies that do not require patient-specific modifications will be used in terms of making treatments and more accessibility to medicine. The development of gene therapies is targeting rare genetic diseases, and that'll continue to grow, potentially really bringing it into cure more of these early stage diseases. And the AI and machine learning will play an integral part going forward, accelerating really the drug discovery process by identifying new therapies, targets, and predicting patient responses. And also, you're going to see a lot of integration with R&D efforts, reducing the time to market with therapies. Hopefully, this is going to reduce the time to market from the beginning of the drug to through the R&D process. We'll also see AI enhancing the development of personalization treatments by analyzing really vast amounts of data and also patient data for more tailored and effective therapies, especially in oncology and rare diseases. You're going to see synthetic biology will also drive innovations in agriculture, including the development of crops and enhanced nutritional profiles and resistance to pests and diseases. We'll also see in the area of agriculture techniques, such as developing genetic engineering techniques for biodegradable plastics and other base materials. Advances in biomanufacturing, including the use of AI, robotics, and automation, will really lead to more scalable and cost-effective production of biopharmaceuticals, enzymes, and other biotech products. We're also seeing the lessons learned from COVID-19, as you recall, will also continue to drive in the area of vaccine development and diagnostics going forward. In the area of climate change, we're looking at biotechnology will play a critical role in tracking climate change through carbon capture technologies, bio-based solutions for waste management, and other developmental sustainable practices in industries such as agriculture, energy, and manufacturing. When we're looking at organ regeneration, this year we're going to see a lot continued progress in regenerative medicine with biotechnology and bioengineered tissues and organs being developed for transplantation. Advances in 3D biotech printing will continue to grow, and we'll see precise printing for more complex tissue structures. And when you look at the biotech companies, will be under pressure to develop affordable treatments and make cutting-edge therapies available and more accessible to the general population. An ongoing expansion of telemedicine and remote healthcare will integrate more into the biotechnology solutions. When we look at the potential for transformative breakthroughs, biotech companies will continue to attract venture capitalists, pharmaceuticals, and companies, and including different government organizations to move biotechnology further ahead. So in conclusion, biotechnology will be an integral part of the sectors, ranging from healthcare to agriculture, personalized medicine, and sustainable manufacturing. Will likely have a profound see more functional tissue printing, including organs that can eventually be used for transplantation into human beings. And in the area of what we'd look at is the biotech industry is really increasingly focusing on addressing environmental changes, innovations in biofuels, biodegradable plastics, Carbon capture technologies are all expected to grow substantially. And biotech solutions for sustainable agriculture, such as genetically engineered crops, will be a major factor in feeding the global population as we go forward. Now let's take a quick look at AI and what the implications are going forward. So in 2025, the impact of AI in biotech is really expected to be transformative, driving innovations across multiple areas of research, drug development, diagnostics, and also patient care. So here's a quick breakdown. So when you look at AI-driven design, AI models, especially deep learning techniques, will continue to grow and revolutionize the process of discovering new drugs by analyzing vast amounts of biological data. In terms of repurposing, AI can also identify new uses for existing drugs by analyzing patterns in existing critical and biological data, speeding up the process and finding treatments for diseases, including those that have been very difficult to feed and treat over the years. In the area of personalized health, AI will enable more precise tailoring of treatments based upon patients' genetic makeups, life science, and science factors theoretically. All AI tools will advance the ability to interpret vast amounts of genetic data, offering insights into how specific genetic mutations affect diseases and how therapies can really customize patients' desires and needs. AI systems, particularly those using machine learning, will enhance diagnostic accuracy through better analysis of medical imaging, biomarkers, and also patient records. And of course, AI modes can really predict disease outbreaks or even the onset of certain conditions by analyzing health data and looking forward to environmental factors. When we look at the efficient bioproduction, AI will improve the efficiency and scalability of biotechnology manufacturing, including the production of biotech, different forms of drugs and vaccines. And then you look at smart labor and smart laboratories. So automation and AI integration will create smart laboratories where robots and AI systems collaborate to conduct experiments, monitor outcomes, and suggest modifications to improve results, increasing productivity and reducing human error. This is where it can expedite the process of reducing the time it takes to get EPA approval from 10 years as we see it today, maybe as low as 5 years or even less. So this is what the future is looking like as we go forward. And AI will also enable better design and optimization of clinical trials by analyzing patient populations. AI can also help monitor patients' adherence, track progress, and even predict adverse effects in real time, ensuring patient safety and reducing trials and errors in the failure rates as well, which is really critical. And when we look at the area of around ethical behavior and so forth, as AI continues to become more involved in decision making in biotech, ethical concerns regarding fairness, transparency, and bias will require ongoing attention, ensuring that all models do not perpetuate or exacerbate inequalities, which will be a key challenge. Governments and health authorities will need to develop in clear frameworks as we go forward in terms of developing these particular needs. In terms of precision surgery, in biotechnology, AI-powered robots will be able to perform complex surgical procedures with greater precisions. In the area of healthcare assistance, AI will play a significant role in remote patient monitoring, rehabilitation, and virtual care. A colleague of mine is 52 years old. His heart is operating at 23% right now, and he's going to have a pacemaker next week put in, and he's on a list to have a heart replacement within the next 2 years. He's met with teams from local people here in San Diego, and they're going to use AI technology as part of the surgery going forward. This will be a major breakthrough. When we look at automated synthetic biology, AI will be used to design and optimize synthetic biology systems, including engineered organisms for various applications such as drug production, biofuels, and environmental remediation. When we look at smart farming, AI will be pivotal in revolutionizing agriculture by enhancing crop yields, improving resistance to diseases, and reducing the environmental impact. AI tools will help in sustaining farming practices by analyzing vast amounts of data and environmental data throughout the data, and also using resources such as water and fertilizers to minimize waste. So, in conclusion, AI's integration into biotechnology will foster a more personalized, efficient, and precise approach to medicine and biotechnological applications, while challenges face us in regulations with ethics and bias will need to be addressed going forward. Again, an overall potential for human growth and better food sustainability throughout the world as we move forward into the future. So that kind of takes you through the biotechnology area as to what's taking place these days. There are just unbelievable amounts of breakthroughs taking place, which is good for all of us. So let's take a look at some key economic indicators. We're going to look at the gross domestic product, inflation, unemployment at the federal and the California level, and then the price per barrel of oil. So the GDP is looking at 2.7% this year globally, and then dropping down to 2.5 next year. You look at the U.S. economy right now, economists are looking at really 1.3% this year, and then moving up to 1.5 next year. A lot of this is going to be based on what happens with tariffs going forward. When we look at the inflation factor, we're looking at 3.1 this year, and then dropping down to 3. And again, the implications of tariffs will have an impact on those numbers as well. The unemployment factor, right now, we're looking at 4.4% on a U.S. basis, followed by 4.5% next year. California, of course, is trailing behind. We're looking at 5.4%, dropping down to 3.9% next year. The price per barrel of oil is low. We'll get into that later in the presentation, but we're looking at a range of $70 to $80 a barrel when we see the price increase across the board. So let's take a look at the global economy. Well, interesting things are taking place. First of all, Bank of Canada has cut interest rates by 25 basis points, and it's now taken down with looking forward as there are areas of concerns about dealing with tariffs and inflation have subsided. When we look at Brazil, they continue to struggle. They just raised interest rates again, 100 basis points. It's up to 14.25%. So you can tell they've got a major problem in their country. Good news is the Bank of England and Japan are both holding ready state, and they're expecting to be able to drop interest rates sometime in May. And the European central banks just cut rates recently by 25 basis points down to 2.25%. So that's good news going forward. And as you know, the Federal Open Market Committee, the FOMC, is really leaving interest rates alone right now. There's concerns about, even though inflation is dropping, there are concerns about the implications of what's going to happen with the tariffs going forward. So we'll wait and see what happens next month when we move into May. The Bank of Japan is also trying to deal with some things on the tariffs as well. So when we look at the next impact, economic growth is holding steady right now. It's slowing down, but it's dragging. But again, the real concern is what happens when we see the impact of tariffs that may go into effect in later April or sometime in May. And of course, credit card is still a big concern about credit card debt. It's well over $1 trillion, and it's the highest we've seen in decades. So there's a real concern there where, again, going forward. Looking at inflation, as I mentioned earlier, the good news is it dropped down to 2.4% in March, down from the 2.8 that we saw in February, that we're moving in the right direction. And the wholesale index also dropped by 0.4 of a point. So this is very good news on both accounts. And that's, again, without any implications from tariffs at this point. The good news is in retail sales, we had a very good month. It was up 3.6% in March. And of course, there's a lot of, automobiles, apparel, housing, all types of developmental products all went up substantially. And again, there's concerns about what's going to happen with tariffs. So a lot of spending took place in the month of March. Now let's take a look at the employment picture. We had about 228,000 jobs were created in the month of March, and unemployment increased to 4.2%. If you look across the board, Basically, there were positives in all areas except for information services, which is the high tech area in mining, and also wholesale and trade. There generally was growth in all areas. And you can see where in March, early March, we saw an increase of 19,000 in government jobs. And the state of California, we had a modest growth of 11,600 jobs in March. Unemployment rate decreased to 5.3%. You saw the areas such as construction, um, information, leisure and hospitality, manufacturing, professional and technical service, real estate, and wholesale and transportation all had negative growth during the month. So now let's take a look at the interest rates. As I mentioned earlier, right now the Federal Reserve is holding things on hold. Again, they'll have a meeting again sometime in the middle of the latter part of May to determine what the next steps are, whether they're going to drop rates or hold the rates current. We'll see what happens in May after we see what the implications are from potential tariff implications. Mortgage rates inched up last week late to 6.83%, and that was up from 6.5 weeks earlier. The manufacturing index again is back in a contractual mode, dropped down below the 50 basis points. It's running at 49 right now, which is not good. In the area of small business confidence level, it dropped again to 97.4. Again, it's down below the 100 basis points. And in addition to that, we saw consumer confidence fall as well as concerns continue. When we look at crude oil prices, as of yesterday, it was at $63.24 a barrel. If you go back several months ago, we're somewhere almost $80 a barrel, was in the 75 numbers. So oil continues to drop at this point, and we'll see how long that continues. The one thing that was mentioned is a major oil refinery in Northern California, I believe it's Varco, announced that in April of next year, they'll be closing that refinery. That refinery accounts for 14% of California's gasoline and oil products. When we look at the housing market, let's take a look at housing starts, for example. It dropped 14% last month, seasonally adjusted. It plunged. It's an 8-month low as starts really declined substantially. Looking at new home sales, good month in March, it was up 7.4%. And we look at Southern California, for example. If you look at Los Angeles County, the home price median was just over $829,000. That decreased by 2.7% from March. And sales, if you will, in March were up by 19.3% over February, which is good news. However, it decreased by 3.7% for March of 2024. Looking at Orange County, the midpoint is 1,450,000, and that decreased by 1.1%. But sales were up by almost 30% during the month. And we saw that sales were up by 5.4% over March of 2024. San Diego, the median price of 1,040,000 remained the same from the prior month. Sales were up about 2%. However, sales declined by 4% over March of last year. And existing home sales came out yesterday, again, late in the month. They were up by 4.2% in the month of February. So that was a good month for them. And if we look at productivity, the report is probably going to be out for the first quarter sometime in mid-May, early June. Now, the following companies had sustainable layoffs during the month of April substantially. So we look at Starbucks, 1,100 corporate jobs, Veterans Fair, probationary employees, 1,400, Social Security Administration, 7,000, Autodesk, tech company up north, 1,350, Hewlett Packard, another 2,300, Porsche globally, 3,900. We look at United States Post Office, 10,000. Audi globally, 7,500. IBM, 9,000. And IBM, I mentioned this morning, there's some real concerns going forward. And Health and Home Services, 10,000. And then, of course, U.S. Cellular, 4,100. As I mentioned earlier, the M&A market is just booming right now. I mean, even though the rates are around 6-7% on deal flow, there's still a lot of action taking place. So Walgreens has announced that what they're going to do, they're working with Sycamore Partners, and for a $10 billion deal, they're going to take the company private. And then Rocket Companies is acquiring Redfin for $1.7 billion. And here it's a merger. It's going to be one of the largest mortgage leaders and lending to digital companies in the United States. It's reshaping the whole housing market going forward. Then Honeywell is buying Sundyne. Sundyne is headquartered in Colorado, and basically they specialize in the design and manufacture of aftermarket products and services. And then BlackRock is acquiring CK Hutchinson's port operations for $22 billion. It's going to be a major acquisition of the port area. PepsiCo is basically moving into some other brands of soda pop, and what they're doing, expanding their market by buying Poppi for $2 billion. And for 2 decades, they have not been involved in the new lines of soft drinks that have taken in the marketplace. So they're jumping in with both feet right now. And then you have James Hardie and Aztec are merging. This is a leading fiber cement exterior building products company. And the company is a composite exterior of outdoor living products. So this is a major deal for them. Then Google, basically, Google has acquired cybersecurity firm Wiz for a staggering $32 billion as they continue to expand in that particular area. Then we look at QXO is acquiring Beacon for $11 billion. It's an all-cash deal. And what this is, it's a building material sector. They have 580 branches in the United States and Canada. SoftBank is again making another acquisition. They've announced the acquisition of US-based chip maker Ampere Computing, and they're going to focus on artificial intelligence. Again, Rocket Companies is back involved again. They're buying Mr. Cooper for $9.4 billion. The merger unites America's largest mortgage lender and servicer, reshaping again the home financing landscape. This is a huge deal. And then we look at DHL, and they're buying pharma logistics specialist Crypto PD for $195 billion. And this is involved in white healthcare services and products. Siemens is active again. They're acquiring Dotmetrics for an AI-powered software for $5.1 billion. It's a leading provider in life sciences R&D software, and they're based in Boston. Infineon is acquiring Marvell Automotive Ethernet business for $2.5 billion. And what they're doing really, it's expanding the product offerings and integrating intelligence and connectivity into every layer of the car's architecture. And then Brookfield is buying Colonial Pipeline, another major deal here, and this is $9 billion. So you're seeing some more consolidations taking place in the oil and gas space. And then Bain Capital is buying Sizzling Platter. So what does this mean? Well, they have 750 restaurants. This includes Little Caesars, Jamba, Wingstrap, you're familiar with Duncan, Jersey Mike's, Cinnabon, Red Robin, and the Sizzler. So this deal, and it's going to be including United States and Mexico. So what else is taking place? Well, Apple has announced they're going building a factory in Texas, and the deal is part of a $500 billion deal to basically work on artificial intelligence servers in the state of Texas. So that is helping. And Sid has left Texas, but Texas is booming economically. And then we look at the U.S. job cuts. You see where it says 103? So last month we saw 172,000 jobs eliminated in this country, and that included government as well as industry, which was substantial during the month, over the month of February. And Wendy's is planning to expand and build 1,000 new restaurants by 2028. So the 3-year program for them. Now, Southwest Airlines, most of us have flown on an airlines. Southwest has been restructuring. They've gone through a lot of significant financial problems in the last year and a half. As you know, you're going to have to pay for seats. And now the new thing is, as of May 28th, you'll now be charged for luggage. So no longer free luggage. You're going to have to pay for luggage. Price has not been announced yet, but that's going forward. And there'll be some issues attached to that, like if you have a credit card from Southwest, there may be where you can bring one bag on free. We'll see. But again, a lot of things haven't been stated yet. GE Aerospace is investing nearly $1 billion in U.S. manufacturing. Again, they want to strengthen manufacturing and innovative with new parts and materials needed for future of flight. And then Forever 21 again has announced they're going out of business in the United States. This is the second filing of bankruptcy in the last 6 years. Spirit Airlines, as you know, has been a target of many acquisitions. They're now coming out of bankruptcy. They're going to be a no-frills airline. And again, they want to rebrand themselves going forward as a premium airline. Restaurant chains Hooters, we've all been to Hooters. They continue to struggle. They're going into bankruptcy. and they're going to continue to operate for the next several months to determine what the next steps are for the company. The United States Postal Service has announced they're looking into raising stamps from 73 to 78 cents. So we keep moving forward because of the deficit that they have in their operations. And the Pentagon made a major announcement about a week ago that they're eliminating $5.1 billion in contracts with Accenture, Deloitte, Booz Allen, and several other consulting firms. And that's going to have a major effect on employment in those companies going forward. So that's a staggering amount of reduction in expenses by the Pentagon. So now I'd like to open it up for Q&A.